The asteroid belt of Praxis 9 glittered like scattered diamonds against the void, masking the Vexillari flotilla that hovered in tactical silence. Fleet Commander Dreth Corrivan stood motionless before the observation deck, six-fingered hands clasped. Behind his back as he watched the tiny blue-green world rotating peacefully in the distance. "Primitives," he muttered, mandibles clicking softly. "Still burning hydrocarbons and fighting over arbitrary land divisions." His second-in-command, Lavinia Maris, approached with calculated steps. Her silver skin reflected the starlight, neural implants pulsing gently along her temples. "The Council of Elders has transmitted their final assessment, Commander," she said, her voice artificially modulated to soothing tones. "They recommend postponing the acquisition of Earth for another cycle." Dreth's upper eyes narrowed while his lower set continued monitoring the tactical displays projected into his retinas. "On what grounds?" "The humans' unpredictability factor. The Behavioral Analysis Division suggests they possess unusual adaptability." Lavinia hesitated, an uncommon occurrence for her species. Elder Torvac specifically warned that humans don't respond to stimuli according to any recognizable pattern. They're the only species ever to receive a Class 5 caution designation. Dreth turned, his exoskeleton catching the light of 3 different suns. The Vexillari had conquered 17 systems across this galactic arm, their technological superiority never seriously challenged. Their quantum computing networks had assessed and categorized every sentient species within 500 light years. Elder. "Torvac still tells stories about the Kriznok debacle," Dreth snorted dismissively. "One tactical setback a millennium ago hardly justifies delaying our expansion timeline." "The humans eliminated the entire Kriznok invasion force," Lavinia reminded him. "A force equipped with technology centuries beyond human capability. The Kriznok were careless. We are not." Dreth gestured toward the holographic display where Earth rotated. "Look at them. Their atmosphere is contaminated, their oceans acidifying, their governments fractured. Our simulations give them a 97% probability of surrender within 14 solar days." Lavinia's neural implants pulsed faster. "The 3% uncertainty is precisely what concerns the Elders." "The Elders grow cautious in their longevity," Dreth said. "I've studied these humans extensively. They're fractious, emotional, and technologically backward. Their only remarkable trait is their ability to create interesting entertainment broadcasts." He expanded the hologram, zooming in on North America, where tiny lights indicated major population centers. "Their military capabilities are laughable: chemical projectile weapons, rudimentary directed energy research, and atmospheric aircraft. They haven't even unified their planetary defense systems." "There are anomalies in their historical record," Lavinia countered. "Their technological development curve is steeper than any species we've encountered, and their adaptive response to threats is irrelevant against overwhelming technological superiority," Dreth interrupted. "The acquisition proceeds as planned." A subordinate officer approached, head bowed in deference. "Commander, forward scouts report their satellite detection systems have noted gravitational anomalies from our cloaked vessels." Dreth's mandibles clicked in amusement. "Clever for primitives. Initiate Phase 1. Let's see how these unpredictable humans respond to a demonstration of actual power." As orders rippled through the command network, Lavinia accessed the historical archives through her neural link. She reviewed footage of the Kriznok defeat again, watching as human fighters, hopelessly outmatched, employed tactics no simulation had predicted. The archive contained Elder Torvac's final warning, issued when the Vexillari first discovered Earth. "Fear the humans, not for what they are, but for what necessity makes them become." On Earth, in an underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Major Avira Carlson stared at anomalous readings on gravitational sensors and knew with bone-deep certainty that everything was about to change. The Vexillari demonstration of power, came swiftly and without warning. 3 uninhabited islands in the Pacific vanished in blinding flashes of quantum disintegration, leaving nothing but perfectly circular depressions in the ocean floor. The message was clear: surrender or face annihilation. In the Emergency Operations Center beneath Mount Cheyenne, chaos reigned. Military leaders from 17 nations argued over crackling secure channels, while scientists attempted to analyze the weapons technology that had just erased billions of tons of matter in seconds. Major Avira Carlson stood silent amid the storm of voices, her dark eyes fixed on the satellite imagery. Unlike her colleagues, she wasn't shocked. For 8 years, she had led Project Harbinger, a classified initiative analyzing potential extraterrestrial threats. Her team had predicted this scenario with unsettling accuracy. "We need to activate Prometheus Protocol," she announced, her voice cutting through the clamor. Admiral Renix Vostov, the grizzled Russian commander of United Earth Defense, turned to her with a scowl. "The protocol was deemed too extreme by the AI Security Council." "That was before aliens vaporized Midway Atoll," Avira replied evenly. "The Prometheus Protocol is our only chance." The Admiral's weathered face showed conflict, then resignation. "You have authorization. God help us all." Halfway across the world, in a research facility buried deep beneath the Sahara, Dr. Jackson, Revik felt his secure phone vibrate. The message was 5 words: "Prometheus active. Come home now." Jackson looked at his life's work, the quantum entanglement device that no one believed would function, and began the shutdown sequence. His team of brilliant outcasts, scientists whose theories had been mocked by the establishment, moved with practiced efficiency. "Is it happening?" asked Dr. Eliska Novara, her hands steady despite the implications. "Yes," Jackson answered simply. "They're here." In low Earth orbit, the International Defense Platform Aegis monitored the approaching Vexillari vessels. Commander, Zaina Orello watched as the alien ships positioned themselves strategically around the planet. "They're deploying in standard Kessler formation," her tactical officer reported. "Classic encirclement technique." Zaina frowned. "How do you know they're standard formations?" The officer looked up, eyes haunted. "I don't. That just came to me." Aboard the Vexillari command ship, Dreth Corrivan watched with satisfaction as the humans' primitive communication networks exploded with panic. Their global markets collapsed, religious fervor spiked, and military forces scrambled without coordination. "Right on schedule," he commented. "Their social cohesion is fracturing, exactly as predicted." Lavinia monitored the streams of data flowing through her neural implants. "There's something unusual in their response pattern, Commander. Their military satellites are repositioning, but not defensively. They appear to be creating a communications network." "Irrelevant," Dreth dismissed. "Prepare the atmospheric processors for deployment. Once we begin altering their air composition to our requirements, surrender will be their only option." "Commander," a sensor officer interrupted, "we're detecting unusual energy signatures from multiple locations on the planet." Dreth's lower eyes checked the tactical feed. "What kind of energy?" "Unknown, sir. It doesn't match any weapons profile in our database." For the first time, Dreth felt a flicker of unease. He turned to the main view screen where Earth continued its peaceful rotation. "Show me these energy sources." The display changed to show dozens of locations across the planet where strange, pulsating energy readings emanated from underground facilities, mountain bunkers, and ocean floors. Back on Earth, Major Carlson walked briskly through sterile corridors deeper into the mountain complex. She reached a biometric security door that scanned her retina, palm, and DNA simultaneously. It hissed open to reveal a circular chamber dominated by a massive quantum computer unlike any built before. At its center stood a cylindrical device, humming with energy. Dr. Adira Tambor, the quantum physicist who had designed it, looked up from her calculations. We never tested it on this scale, she warned. No choice now, Avira replied. Activate the Prometheus protocol. Dr. Tambor hesitated, then pressed her palm against the activation panel. May our descendants forgive us. The device pulsed once, sending an invisible quantum wave sweeping across the planet. In that instant, something within humanity awakened. The change was subtle at first. Around the world, humans paused mid-motion, a collective shiver passing through the species as the Prometheus protocol activated. In the silence of that moment, ancestral memories locked deep within human DNA unfurled like forgotten banners. In a Tokyo research lab, physicist Mori Kazuto suddenly understood how to build a gravitational distortion engine. His hands moved with certainty across his tablet, sketching designs for technology humanity wouldn't have discovered for another century. In Nairobi, Dr. Eshe Nyambura looked at viral samples under her microscope and instantly comprehended how, to engineer a pathogen that would target only vexillary biology, though she'd never seen their genetic structure. Across the planet, the phenomenon repeated itself thousands of times. Engineers intuitively grasped advanced propulsion concepts. Linguists found themselves able to decipher fragments of intercepted alien communications. Military strategists suddenly recognized vulnerabilities in vexillary tactical formations they'd never seen before. In the Mount Cheyenne complex, Major Calson watched the data flood in, her own mind racing with newfound understanding of quantum battlefield theory. What's happening to us? Admiral Vostok asked, his voice hushed as he stared at his hand, which had just sketched a perfect diagram of the Vexillari flagship's propulsion system. The Prometheus protocol, Avira explained, unlocked genetic memory. Impossible, the Admiral whispered, but without conviction. For the past 70 years, we've known humanity's evolution was tampered with, she continued. The great leap forward in our cognitive development 50,000 years ago was too sudden, too dramatic. Dr. Tambor joined them, her eyes bright with the same awakened knowledge. We discovered certain sequences in our DNA were artificially suppressed, advanced knowledge encoded and locked away. The Prometheus device simply removed those suppressions. Who would do this? Vostok demanded. Who would engineer humanity and then handicap us? The same beings who warned us about this day, Avira said quietly. We're not the first intelligent species to evolve on Earth. On the Vexillari command ship, alarms blared as sensors detected massive technological advances occurring across the planet. Weapon systems that hadn't existed hours ago were coming online. Communications previously unintelligible to humans were being intercepted and decoded. Impossible, Dreth hissed, mandibles clicking rapidly in agitation. They're technological. Progression is exceeding every predictive model. Lavinia's neural implants pulsed frantically as she processed the flood of anomalous data. Commander, I'm detecting quantum signatures consistent with predecessor technology. Dreth froze. The predecessors. The mythical first civilization that had allegedly seeded the galaxy with life before vanishing. Most Vexillari considered them legends. The humans cannot possibly have access to predecessor tech, he insisted. The evidence suggests otherwise, Lavinia countered. And there's more. Our genetic databanks just identified a marker in human DNA that matches degraded samples found in predecessor ruins. Dreth's 4 eyes widened. Their descendants? No, Lavinia said, her voice dropping. They appear to be replacements. On Earth, the newly awakened knowledge revealed humanity's true history. They were not natural inheritors of Earth, but engineered guardians, created by the planet's previous sentient species before they ascended beyond physical form. That ancient race had recognized their own technological advancement, had outpaced their ethical evolution, nearly destroying them. Before departing, they created humanity as caretakers, beings of remarkable adaptability and potential. But fearing we might repeat their mistakes, they locked away advanced knowledge behind genetic firewalls to be released only when existential threats arrived. In a hidden facility beneath the Antarctic ice, Dr. Jackson Rivek activated a device that had waited patiently for millennia. The ice surrounding the complex began to shift as ancient machinery hummed to life. All across Earth, humans worked with newfound purpose, ancient knowledge guiding their hands as they prepared to defend not just their planet, but their purpose in the cosmos. Dreth Koravan watched in mounting horror as the primitive species he had dismissed transformed before his eyes into something altogether more dangerous, something awakened. "Launch the atmospheric processors immediately," Dreth commanded, his voice edged with urgency. "Begin the terraforming sequence. We need to render their atmosphere unbreathable before they can fully utilize this awakened knowledge." The Vexillari fleet deployed massive cylindrical devices that plummeted toward Earth's atmosphere, designed to catalyze a chemical chain reaction that would convert oxygen to a chlorine-methane compound hospitable to Vexillari physiology, but toxic to humans. Dreth watched their deployment with grim satisfaction. No matter what knowledge they've suddenly acquired, they cannot evolve to breathe poison. But as the processors breached the upper atmosphere, something unexpected happened. They began to disintegrate, their molecular structures breaking down into harmless components. "Nanite defense swarm," Lavinia reported, her voice betraying surprise. "Humanity has deployed atmospheric nanites programmed to target our specific technology." "Impossible," Dreth snarled. "They couldn't possibly have developed countermeasures so quickly." Yet the evidence was undeniable. Across Earth, humanity's industrial capacity had pivoted with impossible speed. Factories that once produced automobiles now manufactured advanced defense systems. Pharmaceutical plants synthesized compounds that hardened human biology against Vexillari weapons. University laboratories developed countermeasures to technologies they had only just learned existed. In the stratosphere above Kazakhstan, the first human counterattack began. What had been an experimental weather monitoring platform hours earlier now projected a quantum disruption field that disabled the propulsion systems of 3 Vexillari scout ships. The vessels, suddenly dead in space, plummeted toward the Eurasian steppe. "Recovery teams are en route," Major Carlson reported from the Global Command Center that had materialized within the rebuilt United Nations complex. "We need their technology intact." Admiral Vostok nodded, his tactical display showing the coordinated global response. "The Russians and Chinese have successfully deployed the gravitational shielding around major population centers. The European coalition has their particle beam network at 80% capacity." "What about the Antarctic project?" Avira asked. "Dr. Rivek reports they're at final countdown," a communications officer responded. "The Lazarus array will be operational in 17 minutes. Deep beneath the Antarctic ice, Jackson Rivek stood before an alien machine that hummed with incalculable power. The device, neither wholly mechanical nor biological, pulsed with bioluminescent light as it integrated with Earth's magnetic field. "The predecessors left this as their final gift," he explained to his team. "A planetary defense system beyond anything we could have developed on our own." Dr. Eliska Novara monitored quantum fluctuations as the ancient machine synchronized with dozens of smaller nodes they had activated worldwide. "It's remarkable," she whispered. "It's as if it recognizes us as authorized users." "Because we are," Jackson said. "We were created for this purpose, to protect this world until we're ready. To join the galactic community as equals, not subjects." On the Vexillari command ship, chaos erupted as systems began failing inexplicably. Quantum communications collapsed, targeting arrays recalibrated to harmless coordinates. Power cores fluctuated dangerously. "We're being hacked," a technician reported incredulously. "The humans have somehow accessed our central operating systems." Dreth slammed his fist against a console. "Impossible! Our quantum encryption has been compromised," Lavinia interrupted, her neural implants flashing warning signals. "Commander, I'm detecting a massive energy buildup from the planet's southern polar region." Before Dreth could respond, the Antarctic Lazarus Array activated. A pulse of energy, invisible but detectable on every spectrum, expanded outward from Earth, washing over the Vexillari fleet. Where it passed, their advanced technology simply stopped. Engines died. Weapons systems went offline. Life support systems reverted to emergency backup. The mighty Armada, once poised to conquer a primitive world, now drifted helplessly in space. Dreth stared in disbelief at dead consoles and darkened screens. "What have they done to us?" "Targeted quantum field disruption," Lavinia answered softly. "They didn't just awaken to existing knowledge. They're innovating beyond it." In orbit around Earth, Commander Zaina Orello watched from the Aegis platform as the disabled Vexillari ships drifted powerlessly. Permission to deploy boarding teams, she requested through the now crystalline quantum communication network. "Granted," came Major Calson's response. "Remember, we need prisoners, not casualties. These may be our first extraterrestrial diplomatic contacts." Zaina smiled grimly. "After they tried to exterminate us?" "Especially after that," Avira replied. "We need to demonstrate that our awakening has brought wisdom along with power." As Earth's hastily assembled boarding parties prepared to launch, Dr. Jackson Revek monitored the Lazarus Array's power matrix. "The system is stabilizing," he reported. "But there's something else." The ancient machine pulsed with new patterns, projecting a holographic star map into the chamber. Dozens of points illuminated across the galaxy. "What are we seeing?" Eliska asked. "Other worlds," Jackson realized. "Other protected planets. Other, experiments like us." He studied the pulsing lights with growing wonder. "And I think we've just announced our graduation." The boarding of the Vexillari fleet proceeded with surgical precision. Earth's special forces, now equipped with hastily manufactured quantum shielding and neural interfaces, encountered minimal resistance. Most of the alien crews were too stunned by the sudden reversal of fortune to fight back. Commander Dreth Koravan stood rigidly at attention as humans in advanced exosuits breached his command deck. His pride would not allow him to cower, even as his mighty warship drifted powerless. "Commander Koravan," said the human leader, a woman with penetrating eyes and the bearing of a natural predator. "I am Colonel Lyra Nazari of the United Earth Defense Force. Your fleet is now under our control." Dreth's mandibles clicked in barely suppressed rage. "How do you know my name?" "We know much more than that," Lyra replied, removing her helmet. "We've accessed your entire database, your history, your mission parameters." Her expression hardened. "Your previous conquests." While the military secured the Vexillari fleet, Earth's scientists worked feverishly to understand the full implications of their awakening. In a converted conference room at CERN, Dr. Tambor projected a holographic representation of the unlocked portions of human DNA. "It's beyond elegant," she explained to assembled scientific leaders. "Our creators didn't just store technological knowledge. They encoded entire ethical frameworks, historical records, and cultural memories." Major Calson studied the rippling display. "Why would they make it inaccessible until now?" "Protection," replied Dr. Mori Kazuto, the Japanese physicist who had joined their team. "Not just for us, but from us." He gestured to historical simulations, running on a secondary display. "Had we accessed this knowledge before we achieved certain ethical milestones, we likely would have destroyed ourselves." "Like they nearly did," Avira realized. "Precisely," Dr. Tambor confirmed. The predecessors, or the Karithi, as they called themselves, nearly annihilated their civilization through technological advancement that outpaced their ethical development. They created us as their successors, but with safeguards. In Antarctica, The ancient machinery of the Lazarus Array continued to reveal its secrets. Dr. Revik and his team deciphered the star map that had appeared after the system's activation. 27 worlds, Eliska announced, her voice filled with wonder. 27 experiments like Earth, each with engineered guardian species. And we're the first to activate our planetary defense system, Jackson added. The first to face an external threat. The implications hung heavy in the air. Humanity was not alone in its purpose, just the first to fulfill it. On the captured Vexillari flagship, Dreth Koravin sat in a hastily constructed detention cell, his 4 eyes staring balefully at Colonel Nazari through the energy barrier. "You realize the Vexillari hegemony will send another fleet when we fail to report," he said. "You've only delayed the inevitable." Lyra smiled, the expression making Dreth instinctively uncomfortable. Human facial expressions were disturbingly fluid, hinting at their adaptability. "Actually, we've already addressed that," she replied casually. "We've sent a message to your homeworld using your own quantum communication protocols." Dreth's exoskeleton stiffened. "What message?" "The truth, along with comprehensive data about what happened here." Her eyes, just 2, unlike his 4, yet somehow more penetrating, held his gaze. "And a proposal." Meanwhile, in New York, the newly formed Human Unification Council convened its first emergency session. Representatives from every nation gathered as Major Calson presented what they had learned from the Vexillari databases. "The galaxy is more crowded and more dangerous than we ever imagined," she explained, projecting a map showing dozens of interstellar civilizations. "The Vexillari are just one of many expansionist powers. Their conquest of 17 systems is modest compared to some others." "Are we in immediate danger from these other civilizations?" asked the representative from Brazil. "Not immediately," Avira replied. "Most follow non-interference protocols with pre-FTL civilizations, which we no longer qualify as," noted the Chinese delegate with grim humor. "Our awakening has fundamentally changed our status." "Yes," Avira confirmed. "We've essentially announced our presence on the galactic stage by activating the Lazarus Array, but we've also enacted the Karithi Protocol." "Which is?" prompted the Secretary General. Dr. Tambor stepped forward. "A beacon, a signal to the other 26 Guardian worlds that it's time to awaken." The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had not just defended itself, it had triggered a chain reaction across the galaxy. 26 other species, each created like humanity to serve as caretakers, each embedded with locked knowledge, would now begin their own awakenings. "The Karithi created us as part of a larger plan," Avira continued, "not just to protect individual worlds, but to eventually form a coalition of ethically advanced, technologically capable species to counter the sort of imperial expansion the Vexillari represent." In orbit, aboard the International Defense Platform Aegis, Commander Zaina Orello received an unexpected transmission from deep space. It originated from well beyond the solar system, yet was encoded in perfect English. "This is Guardian Vessel. Vigilance responding to Karithi Protocol activation," came a voice unlike any human's, yet warmly familiar somehow. "Earth siblings, we acknowledge your signal. The awakening has begun." 1 month after the failed Vexillari invasion, Earth had transformed. Cities gleamed with newly implemented technologies. Transportation networks functioned on clean quantum energy. Medical breakthroughs eliminated diseases that had plagued humanity for millennia. Yet more profound than the technological revolution was the social one. The awakened knowledge had brought perspective, historical records from the Karithi, showing how their own societal divisions had nearly led to their extinction. Humanity, faced with this visceral lesson and the reality of their true origins, found unprecedented unity. In the orbital diplomatic station hastily constructed in Earth's orbit, Major Avira Calson, now Ambassador Calson, prepared to welcome the first diplomatic delegation from another Guardian world. "The Tyroans have entered the solar system," her aide reported. Their vessel will dock within the hour. Avira nodded, feeling the weight of the moment. The Tyroans, awakened by Earth's activation of the Karithi Protocol, were the guardians of a world 17 light-years distant. Like humanity, they had been engineered by the Karithi, but with different adaptations for their specific world. And the Vexillari response? She asked. Their Council of Elders has accepted our terms, the aide confirmed. Commander Koravan's account of our defensive capabilities was persuasive. Avira allowed herself a small smile. The Vexillari, confronted with evidence of 27 awakening guardian species and the ancient Karithi technology they now wielded, had quickly reassessed their expansion plans. The peace treaty, while fragile, represented the first step toward a new galactic order. Deep within the Antarctic complex, now expanded into a global research hub, Dr. Jackson Revek and Dr. Eliska Novara studied the complete Karithi archives that had been unlocked by the full activation of the Lazarus Array. It's humbling, Eliska said softly. They foresaw all of this thousands of years ago. Jackson nodded, scrolling through holographic records detailing the Karithi's final days on Earth. Not a perfect prediction. They didn't anticipate the specific threat would be the Vexillari, but they knew eventually someone would come. And they trusted us to be ready, Eliska mused. They designed us to be ready, Jackson corrected gently. The Karithi engineered adaptability into our very cells. Our curiosity, our resourcefulness, our capacity to function under extreme stress, all carefully cultivated traits. Yet they left us our free will, she noted. They could have made us organic automatons, programmed to simply activate their technology when threatened. That was their greatest gift, came a new voice. Colonel Lyra Nazari entered the laboratory, her military uniform replaced with diplomatic attire. They learned from their own mistakes that true advancement requires moral choice. In orbit, the first contact between two guardian species proceeded with remarkable ease. The Tyroans, tall, graceful beings with iridescent skin and four-jointed limbs, shared humanity's sense of purpose. Both species recognized each other instantly on some genetic level, like long-separated siblings. Your activation of the protocol was unexpected, admitted Tyroan Ambassador Velik. Our models suggested at least another century before any guardian world faced external threat. We have always been precocious, Commander Zena Orello replied with a smile. Though in this case, it was the Vexillari's underestimation that accelerated matters. A fortunate miscalculation, Velik observed. The alliance forms now, rather than later. On the Vexillari homeworld, Elder Torvak reviewed the peace treaty with Earth with mixed emotions. His warnings about humanity had been vindicated, but at terrible cost to Vexillari prestige. You were right to fear them, admitted his fellow Elder Crixus, but how could you have known? I studied the Kriznok records thoroughly, Torvak replied. Their invasion force encountered something on Earth they couldn't explain, a sudden, dramatic adaptation in human tactics and technology mid-battle. It was dismissed as a fluke, but I recognized the pattern. The pattern of predecessor intervention, Crixus realized. The pattern of Guardians awakening, Torvak corrected. The legends spoke of 27 worlds set aside, protected by engineered caretaker species. I believed Earth might be one such world. His mandibles clicked in resignation. I just couldn't convince the fleet command of the risk. Back on Earth, in what had once been the United Nations General Assembly, but was now the Planetary Council, Major Calson addressed representatives of a unified humanity. Beside her stood Admiral Vostov, Dr. Tambor, and delegates from 17 nations that had been instrumental in the defense effort. Today marks 1 month since we learned the truth of our origins, she began. 1 month since we activated knowledge locked within our very DNA for millennia. 1 month since we claimed our place as one of the guardian species of the galaxy. She gestured to the holographic display showing the other 26 guardian worlds, each now beginning their own awakening. The Karithi created us not just to protect Earth, but to forge something new, a coalition based not on conquest, but on ethical advancement and mutual protection. They saw in their own history how technological progress without moral evolution leads to destruction. They engineered us, all guardian species, with both the capacity for tremendous advancement and the ethical framework to wield it wisely. Admiral Vostok stepped forward. The Vexillari and other expansionist powers have dominated this galactic region for millennia through technological superiority. That advantage has now evaporated. But our purpose is not conquest, Avira continued. The Karithi legacy is clear. We are to establish a new paradigm for interstellar civilization, one where technological achievement is matched by ethical consideration. In the orbital diplomatic station, the Taroan delegation and Earth representatives signed the first treaty of the Guardian Accord. Within days, signals from 3 more awakened worlds arrived, each pledging to the same principles. Commander Dreth Koravan, now serving as the Vexillari's reluctant ambassador to Earth, watched the proceedings with a mixture of bitterness and dawning respect. We believed conquest was the natural order, he confided to Colonel Nazari. That technological superiority granted the right to expand without restriction. A common fallacy among young civilizations, Lyra replied without condescension. The Karithi nearly destroyed themselves believing, and yet they created you, all of you guardian species, with such power, Dreth observed. Were they not concerned you might repeat their mistakes? That's why they locked away our knowledge until we faced extinction, Lyra explained. By then we had developed something they believed essential to wielding advanced technology responsibly. Which was? Empathy, she said simply. The capacity to truly understand the impact of our actions on others. As the first Taroan diplomatic vessel prepared to depart Earth, carrying with it the foundational treaty of what would become the Guardian Accord, Dr. Jackson Revek stood with Major Carlson in the Antarctic complex. Before them, the ancient Karithi. Technology pulsed with renewed purpose. The elders said to fear the humans, Avira mused, recalling the Vexillari warning that Dreth had ignored. They were right, but for the wrong reasons. How so? Jackson asked. They feared what necessity would make us become, she replied. But they didn't understand that what we would become was exactly what the galaxy needed. Guardians awakened not just to power, but to purpose. Above them, in the velvet darkness of space, the glittering lights of 27 worlds pulsed in perfect harmony. A new constellation of awakened guardians, ready to reshape the galaxy not through conquest, but through the wisdom their creators had encoded in their very beings. The Vexillari had feared humans for their unpredictability. What they should have feared was the destiny humanity had been created to fulfill, a destiny now fully awakened. Fear the humans, the elders said. They should have added, for they guard not just a world but a vision of what the galaxy might become.